The Disneyland Limited, now arriving from a trip around Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom. Passengers will stand by to board.
Here we go.
Until we come to a full stop. Remember to gather all your personal belongings and step carefully from the train.
Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. Please remain seated at all times. Keep your arms, hands, legs, and feet inside the train. Supervise your children and place them away from the train openings. Our next stop is New Orleans Square.
Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. We're embarking on a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. We'll be stopping at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. We'll also visit the Grand Canyon and make a trip back in time to the primeval world and the age of the dinosaurs before returning to Main Street Station. As we begin our journey, remember that for a safe trip, you need to stay seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your children.
Bienvenidos a bordo del Disneyland Railroad. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
Our first stop is New Orleans Square Station. But to get there, we need to pass through the wilds of Adventureland. It may seem peaceful through here, but trust me, it's a real jungle out there. Literally. So be on the lookout. You just never know what might be lurking along the rails. Just ahead is New Orleans Square Station. This station also serves Frontierland and Critter Country. If you'll be leaving us here, please remain seated until the train comes to a complete stop. Then watch your step as you're getting off. For those of you continuing on with us, we'll be resuming our trip in just a moment. This is New Orleans Square Station, New Orleans Square.
Please remain seated until the train has come to a complete stop. Many.
To those just joining us, welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. To ensure a safe ride, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your kids.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
We're now entering Splash Mountain, rumored to be the location of the one and only Laugh-In Place. If you look real hard.
Unfortunately, Splash Mountain is under refurbishment and will return April 14th.
I'm going to be gone by then.
Speaking of critters, this place we're passing over is home to a whole bunch of them. Here in Critter Country, you can join Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Brer Rabbit, and Brer Bear on their fun-filled adventures. As we steam past Hungry Bear Restaurant, the last outpost in these parts, we're now joining up with the rivers of America and entering the frontier as it looked more than a century and a half ago. This is my favorite part of the journey. Around every bend, there's natural beauty as far as the eye can see. Revered Indian shaman, sharing his stories with those in the Great River Valley below. People like you have been riding these rails since the 1800s, traveling through nature's wonderland in a matter of days, rather than the months it used to take by mule or stagecoach. Steam power not only fueled these iron horses, but the dreams of a whole new generation as it moved west into this great frontier. Of course, some of those dreams, and the stories that went with them, were pretty darn wild and downright unbelievable. Like on Big Thunder Mountain, where I hear that mysterious spirits have grabbed hold of those mining trains and turned them into the wildest ride in the wilderness.
We're now making our way to Mickey's Toontown Depot. This will be your stop for all the Fantasyland attractions, also including, It's a Small World Holiday and the Matterhorn bobsleds. Wow, words are hard today. Anywho, friends, unfortunately, Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter Teacups, and possibly Storybook Laugh Canals, they're not going to be open right now because of the rain. Once it clears up a bit, then they'll reopen.
Ones you'll find on Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Our next stop is Toontown Depot, official train station for Mickey's Toontown, the cartoon home where Mickey, Minnie, and all their friends live. Toontown Depot is also the gateway to Fantasyland, where you'll find many of your favorite Disney animated characters and stories. If you're leaving us here, please wait until the train comes to a full stop. Remember your personal belongings, then step carefully from the train. Have fun.
As we approach the station, please remain seated until the train makes a full and complete stop. For all my folks who are going to be staying on, please side away from the middle opening down towards the ending of the road so we can get an accurate count on how many folks we come forward. That way it can be a little easier. No one can get wet by umbrellas or raincoats. Thank you. We'll sign on down. This is Mickey's Toontown Depot. Stay seated though, the train is still moving.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the Disneyland Railroad. For a safe ride, remember to stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your kids.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Y bienvenidos a bordo. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
As we leave Toontown Depot, we get a real nice view of the happiest land of them all, Fantasyland. You can see people stepping onto It's a Small World just below us. And, off in the distance, majestic Matterhorn Mountain. We're now steaming forward into the future to a land inspired by visions of tomorrow, both practical and imagined. Here you'll find rocket ships and star speeders, submarines and astroblasters, and, if you look overhead, maybe a glimpse of a Mark 7 monorail. This is the latest version of the first daily operating monorail system in the entire Western Hemisphere, gliding above Disneyland since 1959. Below the monorail, and us, are the fun-filled roadways of the Autopia. Drivers of all ages can get behind the wheel of these cars. No experience or license required. If you're into soaring spaceships or doing battle with evil empires and emperors, Tomorrowland is definitely the place for you. Speaking of which, we're pulling into Tomorrowland Station right now. If you're leaving us here, just stay seated until we come to a full stop. Gather your belongings, including lightsabers and astroblasters, and step carefully from the train. Thanks, and have fun in the future. For the rest of you, just sit tight. We'll be on our way again in just a minute.
We're now making our way to Tomorrowland Station. This will be your stop for Autopia, Star Tours, Buzz Lightyear, Astro Blaster, the Astro Orbiter, the monorail that will take you to our downtown Disney District and Space Mountain. Autopia will resume normal operation once the rain has stopped. Once again, friends, remain seated and be careful as you step down from the train. This station gets a bit slippery.
Got little ones, make sure they're sitting towards the inside of the train, away from that center open aisle. Thank you.
Make sure all children are fully seated on their bottom pockets. They cannot be standing. They must be fully seated.
The world of the future to the breathtaking beauty of nature's own design, the Grand Canyon. For your safety, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. Watch your children and no flash photography.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Por favor, no tome fotografías con flash.
That was the Grand Canyon as we know it today. But it wasn't always this way. Now, let's travel back in time, way back in time, to the fantastic past of the primeval world, land of the dinosaurs. into our own time and to Main Street Station, gateway to Disneyland. If you're leaving us here, stay in your seat until we come to a full stop. Remember to gather all your personal belongings and step carefully from the train. I'd especially like to thank those of you who've been with me for the Grand Circle Tour of Disneyland. We hope you enjoyed your travels with us and that you'll come back to ride with us again real soon. For those of you staying with us, we'll be on our way again in just a few minutes.
Be advised, folks, Main Street doesn't have ramps, it's all steps. So if you have strollers and wheelchairs, open them up at the bottom of the steps. Also, watch your steps getting off the train, please. Just ride with us, enjoy the
Your attention, please. Last call for the Disneyland Limited. Now leaving for a complete trip around Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom.